As I celebrate the 50th anniversary of Danielle's birth and reflect on our journey together, I'm left with a sense of awe, in a state of flux between having too many words and no words at all to express her essence. In her words, it's not just my story, it's our story. By our, she meant to be all-inclusive. Mo could see and know things, observing human nature from a broad perspective. She had the uncanny ability to access humor on the spot. From the get-go, she had a big presence and passionate spirit, and she kept us on our toes, laughed every day, and lived her life full on. As I celebrate the 50th anniversary of Danielle's birth and reflect on our journey together, I'm left with a sense of awe, in a state of flux between having too many words and no words at all to capture her essence. In her words, it's not just my story, it's our story. And by our, she meant to be all-inclusive. Mo could see and know things, observing human nature from a broad perspective. She had the uncanny ability to access humor on the spot. From the get-go, she had a big presence and passionate spirit, and she kept us on our toes, laughed every day, and lived her life full on. When she learned of the cancer and that it had spread quickly, instead of just relaxing in the comfort care of hospice, her goal was to have the energy to keep going and live full on to the nth degree. And true to form, she made an ever-growing bucket list. She fulfilled her mission, expressing her love and gratitude, creating experiences that deepened her relationships and made an impact. She wrote this note: "I really want to keep going on my buckets. Glad I'm getting a little practice writing thank you cards. Working my way up to the ones that count most. Kind of want to be good at it by then. Thanks to everyone that's been good to me, sharing an impression they made on you from the most sincere and honest place. It's a reward to identify what connected you." What connected you, I thought. How insightful. I'm learning a lot about connections from the clues Mo left about life and about death, from the reflections shared by Mo's family and friends. Beyond our genes and our personalities is the heart of kindness and care, the love and laughter that connects us and lives on. So here's a little family background. The water side of the family tree extends from the West Coast, California, to the east, New York, and I was the first of 5 siblings to have children, first Stephanie and then Danielle. Danielle gave us our first grandchild, great-grandchild, and nephew, Tyler, the first of many second and third cousins. Steph was the light of my life for over 4 years. This picture was taken of her in 1972, just before she became Danielle's big sister. Danielle was my 21st birthday present to myself and Steph. Danielle Marie was born on Sunday, June 4th, 1972, weighing in at 8 pounds and 13 ounces. She was delivered by a substitute doc who came sauntering into the delivery room just moments before she was born, smoking a large, smelly cigar. That was her entry into life. With Mo's birth, our lives changed, and life was never dull. In Steph's words, "The other day I was making dinner, and the recipe called for a spread that uses goat cheese. Well, whenever I think of goat cheese, I think of Mo. I think I may have served it 1 or 2 times over the years as an appetizer, and she never forgot it and never failed to tease me about how gross the goat cheese was. I think she used to bring a proper cheese ball appetizer every year at Thanksgiving to make sure no one would have to suffer through the possibility of being served goat cheese. Do you know why I called my sister Mo? When we grew up together in Southern California, she was my little sister Danielle. When she moved to Utah and started going by her middle name, Marie, I struggled to call her Marie, so I called her by her initials, M-O, Mo. Then she started calling me Sister So. When she decided to go back to being called Danielle, Mo stuck for me. I love some of these pictures because they remind me of growing up together in some really great places. We always had that in common and many shared experiences, even when we grew older and made our own lives. I guess no one will know what memories these pictures represent quite like I do, but that's what makes them so special to me. I really like the ones with our dog, Angel. It makes me smile to think that she had her own angels in Gracie and Ripley. She appreciated their sweet natures and loved their big personalities, just like hers. Or the one where she's running down the dirt road near our house in Julian. It so demonstrates the funny, goofy, and joyful side of her personality. She had a pet chicken growing up. It was the runt of the bunch, was always picked on. But she had so much compassion, she picked that little chick to be her favorite and gave it extra love and attention. She was always sensitive to others. She could always fly high and with so much grace and joy. We shared a lot of love, a lot of laughs, and a lot of brownie mix that never made it to the oven. We had our private jokes from growing up together, even though we were nearly 5 years apart. She had style, wit, and sass. I'm lucky to be her sister. And Steph, always lucky to have you for her sister as well. She looked up to you, admired you, and loved you intensely. Thank you always for your presence and care, for the good thoughts, hugs, and tears we share together. One of Mo's highlights was when she got to go on the band trip with you when you were in high school with your friends. And she followed you guys around everywhere you went. And I think that trip influenced her. She was so proud of you for winning the drum major award and for having so many friends and just the fun that you had, that she decided in high school to go out for Charlonians herself in the drill team. And that brought her a great amount of joy as well. And just like you, she went overseas, abroad, during her high school years. And I feel like the Russia to Russia trip, people to people, affected her and gave her a sense of purpose in her life, because she could see that one-on-one connections with people made a difference that maybe the governments couldn't influence as much as individual people could. So here's a little Snoopy cartoon for us. In life, it's not where you go, it's who you travel with. Aren't we so lucky to travel this road together? Steph remained Sister So, even when she got married to Dan in 1994, and her name was switched from Osteen to Abradovich. Mo was the first to become a mom, and Steph was by her side. A few years later, Tyler found out he was going to become a big brother. Both Mo and Steph were expecting, and Riley and Alex were born just 4 months apart. 2 years later, Nick arrived. Together we were called the Utah Clan by the rest of the Waters family, and following our long tradition of assembling for special occasions, we'd celebrate whenever we could their sons' joys, their accomplishments, graduations, their loves, and the freedom to spread their own wings. It's always a special treat to have all 4 grandsons together, the cousins and the rest of our family gathered. It was never taken for granted by us moms. Being Steph and Mo's mother, Nana and Grammy to Tyler, Riley, Alex, and Nick, and now Nicole, is such a gift. Good and tender times, delicious meals, great memories. Our connections have deepened through life's thicks and thins. Sometimes happy smiles mask unhappy circumstances, and sometimes those circumstances can break you, but they can also forge you and give you purpose and build character. With Mo, she experienced both, and she learned. Her sincere smiles and commitment were a gateway to happier times for herself and others. And to the boys, there are bits of the best of both parents, grandparents, and siblings in each of you. You have your own unique offbeat sense of humor, intelligence, decency, and good values. And I see you making the best of your life circumstances. You're learning, you're growing, and living up to our hopes for you to lead good lives. I'm beyond proud of you and thankful for who you are and who you're becoming. Nice job, guys. Mo sent this note in thanks to her family for being there for her. Many directions simplified, realistic, and tangible for me. Thanks, loved ones. Peace of mind, peace of mind. Love, what an amazing thing to feel from all these beautiful ways. One of our great fortunes in life has been to have our mom, Grandma Gigi, with us here in Utah and California consistently over the years, up into her late 90s. As the first grandkids, Mo and Steph were very close to their grandmother and grandfather and have many of their good qualities. All of them have generous hearts, keen sense of personal responsibility, and great values. They're funny, youthful, resilient, strong, smart, and determined women. They love their children fiercely, and they never miss an opportunity to enjoy the swing hung from the liquid amber tree in Grandma's backyard or power down a whole box of See's candy. Here's our beloved matriarch, my mom, sharing some of her reflections.
So I am Danielle's grandmother, and I like to, if I can, do some wonderful memories I have of her. Starting from the time she was a little child, she had a great sense of humor, and she and I bonded in that regard. But I can remember times when she would visit us and come and stand on the hearth of our fireplace and take up the chain from the chain that pulled the fire closed and use that as a microphone to entertain us, as she just loved making people laugh. And even at the age of 3 or 4 or 5, she would sing such wonderful songs, and we'd all sit there and be so happy. So her joy in life was making other people happy. She and I shared many jokes over the phone, and she would laugh and laugh, and I would laugh and laugh. So I have to share one joke. She had a little of a body sense of humor sometimes. So this one joke was about, Halloween. She had a joke for every occasion. So why don't witches get pregnant? And the reason is because warlocks have Halloweenies. That was the one we could laugh for about 20 minutes on. And then through the years, of course, her beautiful, beautiful smile made everybody happy. Even as she became older and had some troubles in her life, she never concentrated on that. Her goal in life was to make people smile and be happy, and she extended that even through her illnesses. I admire so much how she was able to do that. On my 95th birthday, everybody came in my family, and at that time she knew she was dying. She never told that to anybody. She just went around to different tables and told funny stories to make everybody laugh. So it was only after my birthday that she told me what was happening to her. And I think of all the times she suffered and never expressed anything at all. Just a goal to be. She had so many friends who loved her happy smile, and her children, I think, enjoyed that part of her too. Her smile was kind of so catching. You wanted to frame it put it on the wall. Anyway, she was a wonderful, wonderful granddaughter. We had a great relationship, and I treasure that through the years. So one time when Danielle and Tyler came to visit in Huntington Beach, I got a chance to see her as a young mother. And she was, Tyler, why do you keep saying Ray? Tyler had a little bit of colic when he was a baby, so he cried. And her fun thing to do to help him get over that was she loved to lift him up and down, and the motion seemed to help his little tummy. So we watched her exercise her motions up and down all the time. And another time, when I was visiting here, I think, she and I went for a walk in the park. And at that time, she was just had found out she was pregnant with Riley. And she was so thrilled and happy to be making a bigger family, and she thought everything was going to work together so well. So that made her such a happy person to be pregnant again with Riley.
Just say
Well,
what
no,
feels.
of course, she dearly, dearly loved her boys, and she was very proud of them. And we had some fun visits with both of them. One thing we did together that was so much fun, part of her ability to, no, decided she wanted to be a model. So my photo partner and I decided we would try and take some good pictures of her in black and white. We went to the park and all kinds of places, and she would pose. And I have an album of the pictures that we took that day. She was such a good actor and poser and smiler and everything else you needed to do to have a good picture.
The girls had powerful influences from both my mom and dad. Their grandpa Waters passed on just before their 50th wedding anniversary in 1996. He took us all sailing and whale watching and introduced us to Catalina Island. He showed us the wonder of the night skies through his telescope. Mom taught us handiwork, faith, and the importance of celebrating holidays together. They passed down to us their family, social, and work ethics, and their high expectations. Mom and Dad's sense of humor, love of music, nature, travel, and adventures have carried on through the generations. Both girls were already grown and mothers themselves when I met my husband, Dave. They both welcomed him into their lives. He's been a tremendous support to my girls and their families. I'm very grateful. Mo fondly called him Papa D.
About the time I fell in love with Linda, I discovered that any relationship with her would involve relationships with her two daughters, Stephanie and Danielle, as well as their sons. Both of Linda's girls were charming, lovable, and beautiful, but with very different personalities. I liked them both a lot. For all the years I knew Danielle, before and after her battle with cancer, she worked hard and steady. Despite unspeakable adversity, Mo sustained her dignity by working consistently, supporting herself and her children. Moreover, she acted deliberately to spare the boys from conflict. Danielle held her job until just before she died. For a time, she even took a second job at the VA to help with increasing demands. I presume that being able to control her life at work was balm for her soul. Notably, she served those she worked with and for to help them with their challenges in their lives, and she never missed providing financial support for her children. I was and am impressed. When you live with someone, you get to see who they are, what they're made of from day to day. Mo's youngest son, Riley, summed it up. Memories of my mother. Some of the fondest memories I have of my mother are later in life, after I moved back in with her. I was able to see how awesome she was at dealing with an issue and turning the stress into laughter. She was always cracking jokes, making everyone smile with the worst, best jokes you ever heard. She was always the heart of the party. I'm very fortunate that she was my mother and that she loved and cared for me. It's a shame I wasn't able to spend more time with her, but it made the time I did have very special, and I'm thankful for it. Tyler, Daniel's eldest son, and his wife, Nicole, shared their thoughts.
My relationship with my mother can be compared to, I guess, a roller coaster. It's had its ups, it's had its downs, but whenever I look back on it, I don't have anything but fond memories about how enjoyable the ride was. Her passing hasn't been easy, and it comes and it goes, the hard times and the down feelings. And with those down feelings, some of the hardest parts are thinking that she'll never be able to meet my kids. She'll never be there to give me advice when I go through things. She'll never be there to see the things I do accomplish in this life. But then again, on the other hand, her passing has also done so much for me. Seeing the way she has persevered through the hard times in her lives and has always tackled it with humor and with happiness and putting loved ones first has shown me a lot on how I can handle my life, my trials and hardships that I will go through. And she's also taught me a lot about forgiveness, and even in her last moments, just how to love unconditionally and just take what comes and accept it and just handle it with a smile and a sense of humor. So even in her passing, she still has taught me so much about loving people and forgiving people and to not take myself so seriously. So even though her passing has brought bad things, it's also taught me a lot in life. And it also has shaped who I am and how I am going to tackle life going forward. I never want to lose that child-like personality that she always had. I never want to take myself too seriously. I never want to lose that humor in my life. And when hard things come in my life, I want to handle it like she does. Just get through it and smile and make those around you feel good. And really, I'm just filled with gratitude for the times and memories I have had with her. I'm filled with love for the mother she was, and I just feel especially lucky to have been such a big part in her life. And the best thing that I can do is go forward and try to live a life that she would be proud of and honor her memory and not taking myself too seriously and loving those around me.
I wanted to share my first memory with Danielle. I met Danielle in February 2014. It was me and Tyler's second date, and we were at Danielle's house, and she offered to make us dinner. We were hanging out upstairs, and she burst into the room with our dinner plates over her chest and in a Viking voice screamed, "Breastplates!"
Hey, yo.
And then she laughed and laughed and laughed and was like, "Get it?" And we were like, "Yeah." Anyway, it was just really funny. And right off the bat, I was like, she's a really funny and just full of joy person. And I thought it was awesome that that was my first memory of her. But no, she's just an absolute joy to be around. She's very happy one of my happiest memories with her is when we got married. You know, it was just cool to have her there and be able to celebrate with her and have that experience with her. But yeah, I love Danielle. I love the impact that she's had in our lives, her support, and like I said, she can cheer anyone up. She's just joyful and funny, and yeah, I love her.
The rest of Steph's family, the Abradovich boys, wrote their thoughts. This is from Mo's youngest nephew, Nick. I remember her always trying to lighten the mood with silly jokes or just general charm. Every time I saw her, it was a new series of jokes that I knew I could rely on to make our family gatherings bright and joyous. And from Alex, Mo's older nephew, the one thing I always remember the most about Aunt Mo was her laugh. Wherever she was, her laugh was always there too. Whether it was her laughing at one of her own mildly inappropriate jokes or someone else's, her laugh was always there, and that's what I miss the most. This is from Steph's husband, Dan. A Mo memory. Most holiday meal get-togethers had been at our house in Park City. But on this particular Thanksgiving, Mo announced that she would like to host the get-together at her house in Sandy. We thought it was great. A nice change up from the usual routine. When we arrived, you could tell a lot of time and effort had gone into preparations. The table was carefully set and her house looked neat and tidy. I can't recall if the deviled eggs and black olives were set out. They certainly appeared soon after we arrived. Then Mo would put an olive on each finger, attempting to cover all 10 digits. That was the routine for every Thanksgiving that I can remember. What also was on display was Mo's sense of humor and her complete ease at just being herself. Now she was cracking her corny jokes and deadpan comments while putting together a Thanksgiving meal. She was not flustered or bothered with any of the ups and downs of putting together a big meal for her family, and just kept up a steady stream of jokes and occasional off-color comments. Looking back, I believe it was really important for her to host us, and I'm so glad we shared the time together at her house.
Mo's connection and love for Tyler and Riley always brought strength and hope, even before cancer struck. It got them through some of their darkest days. Their laughter and bond was the best medicine of all and eased their way. Mo, Tyler, and Riley are heroes to me. They're heroes not only for the challenges they've endured, but because of how they've handled the challenges. Rationally, creatively, with humor, taking the high road for the sake of sanity and well-being. I know how happy it made Mo to see you all enjoying each other's company. And now, more than ever, I'm so glad for the times Mo and her boys had with each other and the one-on-one times she cherished so much. Your mom was so proud of you both, Tyler and Riley. She admired you and respected the choices you made with a mom's understanding of the difficulties involved. Ty, when you announced your engagement to Nicole, she could barely contain herself when she shared the news with me. She was so pleased to be able to celebrate with you both at our wedding party. And it's great that she and Nicole's mom had time together to share in a mother's joy. Your timing couldn't have been better. Nicole, Mo loved you very much, and we all do. I'm glad you guys could celebrate Mo's last birthday after your honeymoon, and the trip with Ty to Huntington Beach to visit Gigi, see Catalina, our old stomping grounds, fulfilled Mo's bucket list. You add sparkle to our family. The newlyweds invited Mo over to their condo for dinner after the news. She sent me this picture in a text. A lot of healing happened tonight, followed by, "Oh, fabulous joy! Callooh Calais," she chortled in her joy. That was Mo. She so appreciated the love and family support. She wrote this in a note of thanks. "Many directions simplified, realistic, and tangible for me. Thanks, loved ones. Peace of mind, peace of mind. Love, what an amazing thing to feel from all these beautiful ways." Mo also wrote this for her boys. Good advice. "When the opportunity of a lifetime presents itself and stretches you beyond everything you've known and closer toward everything you're reaching for, would you take it? Would you have questions?" And here's a reminder that Mo sent me during her last few weeks after a particularly stressful interaction. Instead of lashing out, sinking into despair, she dove into the center of the pain to face and heal from wounds stirred up from the past. She said, "It is what it is. It does what it does. Something behind me somehow opens up a new opportunity for a miracle. All good. Love helps everything be better." So the people at Transwest, where she worked for so many years, respected her. They genuinely cared, and they treated each other like family. After her cancer diagnosis and her ongoing series of surgeries and treatments between early 2017 and late summer 2019, they set up an office for her at the Sandy Branch so she could be closer to home. She wanted to spend as much time as possible with her sons. She had earned their trust and supported her, and they supported her need for flexible hours. She thrived, managed the company's loan titles and insurance requirements. She worked right up until the day the doctor gave her the result of her final CT scan, when she went on hospice home care. The executive staff invited her to a luncheon to say their goodbyes. And after she passed, the entire staff and many members threw a celebration as a tribute to her. To her family, she had pictures printed of her at work so they could see her responsible work identity. And to her cohorts and boss, she gave pictures of her sitting on the beach with her dogs. There she was, relaxed and kicked back. Mo wrote this note to her boss, Steve, in reference to comments he made at the last luncheon. "It meant a lot to me when you expressed the appreciation that the members had for me, and that was one of the contributing factors to the generosity, support, and love extended to me and my family in our hardships and time of need. That's not a workplace, that's a family. It means a lot to me in my life because you expressed to me that I was touched and I reached out beyond those I work closely with. It makes me know that love from a broader spectrum. What I put out there was received. Thank you." My mother and I fell in love with She also said this. "My mother and I fell in love with Transwest and its heart. Probably even meant more to her because she could see me cared for by all of you. I'm so honored to be able to be living the dream you all made possible for me. Thank you so much from both of us. Grateful is such an insufficient word." In all caps, she said. There were so many turning points in Mo's life. She explored personal growth, awareness classes. She got support, education, counseling, had a variety of jobs, long-term stable career at Transwest, our moves to California, in California and to Utah, and moving on from destructive situations and people, relationships, separation and reunion with family. I'm proud of Mo for committing to take personal responsibility for her life choices and having the courage to show up for herself and her boys, and helping others learn to navigate their way through life's complexities. I believe her service helped carve a happy ending to her life. Mo had 5 relationships starting in high school. Some provided her with deep love, trust, loyalty, and respect. Others, not so much. I remember her remarking that she experienced all extremes, including a marriage, a divorce, tender loving times, adventures, letting go, decades of trials, transformation, and eventual triumphs. During the dark times, she had moments of despair and battled depression. She learned life lessons from each relationship, walking through the darkness with a candle to light her way back home to her heart. With that spark, she reached out to light the way for others with empathy, wise advice, a joke, and a helping hand. Martin Luther King said, "Unearned suffering is redemptive." In Mo's case and in Tyler and Riley's, his insight proved to be true. Years later, Mo wrote this in a text as advice to her boys. Traveling a dangerous, challenging road requires the ability to recognize warning signs. They help me be emotionally prepared for things to come. So for the next year and a half, there were more challenges. For Mo, her cancer had spread shortly after the surgeries and treatments. Additional surgeries, chemo, more radiation, further complications, and a divorce. All the while, Tyler was in the midst of his own painful recovery with further complications, pouring his energy into healing. He was also in the throes of wooing Nicole after she returned from 18 months of church service in Canada. Riley was struggling with his own challenges at an important crossroad, just as those closest to him were fighting for their lives. As Mo continued her cancer challenges, she spared her family as much grief as she could and continued to try to keep things lighthearted. In this picture, the caption was, "If anyone asks what I've been up to for the last couple of years, I'd say a little of this, a little of that." That was Mo. As more waves of peaks and valleys came knocking, Mo and the boys faced it all with grit, making tough but necessary decisions to make the best of things. I'm proud of her and proud of them for the many ways they showed up during these trials. And there were many bright spots. Mo had survived long enough to celebrate Tyler and Riley's graduations. As soon as they were strong enough to travel, Ty and Mo traveled to Huntington Beach and Catalina together, making lasting memories and she got to celebrate his marriage to Nicole after his own heroic cancer ordeal. After Riley came to be with her, she was there to support him through his education as he learned to drive, and they were able to take road trips and adventures together. There were layers of trials and tribulations she and the boys endured and ultimately triumphed over. Riley's presence and help was invaluable, and Tyler made it a priority, even with his own challenges, to show up for her and support his mom. They're all my heroes. I'll be forever grateful to them for their love, their strength, their courage, and their everlasting bond. This is from our friend Kata. Playful, smiling eyes and full-on energy. That's what I remember when I met Danielle on her first Avatar course in Keystone, Colorado. I was fortunate enough to be a part of her years of evolvement in that work. I got to be there for her honest and courageous moments of discovery, resistance, grief, and remorse. I saw an old self-negation bloom into the first rays of self-acceptance. I witnessed it as it turned to forgiveness, compassion, and joy. She began to help others naturally. She emanated a sweet caress of non-judgmental compassion. She brought a space of warmth and care for people on the journey. I find myself thinking of a comet's swift passing through Earth's atmosphere, burning up its heavy mass on its short journey and transforming itself into a flaming light. In the end, I'm left remembering the brightness of her light. So about Mo's bucket list, one of the things she wanted to do was reconnect with past relationships. She mended and maintained a fond and appreciative friendship with her ex-husband after their divorce. She did her best to come to terms and make peace with all she'd gone through in her life. She never missed a chance to strengthen her relationships and communicate how grateful she was. She said about 5 weeks before she passed, "I don't live the statistics, I break them." She also said, sweetest, beautiful life we had to trust we'd live someday if we fought for it. We did, we do, we are, and we won. I lived to share the joy and reach this reality. I'm overwhelmed with so much gratitude. Good thing we're going to Powell. Okay, pack. I'm procrastinating again in such a good way. And here's what my mom has to say.
Anyway, one other wonderful experience I had with Danielle was I was able to share a course in Avatar with her. She and I shared a room. And at that time she was having a struggle with her marriage and different things. So we had many conversations, and she learned so much from Avatar, and I admire how she overcame some of her problems. But I have to say, one of the things that was most memorable was how she taught us all how to pass. Her bravery and her courage in her final year was just incredible. And of course I was so much older, and I thought, boy, if I could pass that way, I'd be very happy. So bless you, Danielle. You'll be in my heart forever.
One of the many things Mo had on her bucket list was to talk to each of her closest family and share the news directly. She wanted to be together with family in Huntington Beach and be able to sit by her grandmother's side, personally tell her the news, show her that she was strong and able to handle what was to come. Mo had just spent a few moments alone with her grandma, gently telling her and showing the images of the tumor growth, calmly reassuring and comforting her grandmother. Her cousin Amanda walked in just moments after Mo had talked with Mom. Again, she compassionately explained to Amanda that the cancer had come back and she wasn't going to make it. Josh enters the room, her cousin, unexpectedly, and in her usual style, she looked up, broke the awkward silence by looking up at him and saying, "Josh, I'm dying to tell you, I'm dying." We were all speechless, and that was Mo. He was stunned and unsure if it was another one of her jokes to make him laugh, turned to the kitchen, started cooking breakfast. Anybody hungry? We all sat down at the table and ate with tears and smiles. Let's see. Regarding her bucket list, in a text Mo wrote just before she fell and went into a coma, "Lucky and grateful for all the love we share. Everything is okay, or will be, despite our challenging circumstances. I love you and know we will free our burdens." I responded to her, "I love you deeply." And again, she turns the corner with a little humor and says, "Ditto infinity, and thank you for helping me with that bucking list." That was Mo. Danielle passed quietly and peacefully at 3:55 a.m. in her home after an arduous and heroic battle with cancer. 3:55 a.m. I was struck by the close proximity to her birth time, 3:52 a.m. Everyone had gone to sleep, and I was holding her hand as she took her final breath. And in that instant, her lifespan, which was 47 years, 3 months, 26 Earth days. It seemed to be flashing by in an instant of 3 minutes in slow-mo blink of time. So extraordinary and mystical, just as she'd lived much of her life. In her final weeks, she was cared for at home, surrounded by 2 loving sons, Nicole, her sister, Stephanie, me, and her 2 Danes, Gracie and Ripley. What a blessing that we could all be together with her by her bedside during her last days. It was her dream finally fulfilled. Mo taught me by her example how to live a good life, not a perfect life or a long life, but a complete one. She taught me how to laugh when all I thought I could do was cry. She taught me presence and connection when my impulse was to shut down or turn away when things got too overwhelming. She taught me how to be grateful for the simple things, to express thanks to others. She taught me that it's never too late for redemption and forgiveness. She taught that with enough commitment, we can overcome the most challenging obstacles. Together, we learned to never give up on each other and hold fast to our values, our love of life and family, our dreams of peace, justice, sanity, and reunion. As joyous and as difficult as things were, she made the best of circumstances, and in the end, love prevailed. Mo, thank you for your life lessons, your many reflections to grow by. Thank you for your humor, courage, strength, your contagious smile, and most of all, your precious heart and unending love. As Dr. Seuss wisely said, don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened. And as much as Mo loved the awe of sunsets, she also loved the bright light and renewal of sunrises, prisms, rainbows, and a good set of fireworks. She loved lifting spirits through humor and song. Both Grandpa and Grandma Waters passed down their sense of humor and love of music to their children and on to the next generations. There was a song for most occasions. The Sound of Music was one of our family's favorite movies. The story was filled with wonder, humor, love, betrayal, and messiness and complexities of life woven together with unforgettable music. Here's just a few of her favorite things I'd like to share. Air flights to Gigi's with Tyler and Riley. Soul talks, beach walks together, all smiley. Wetlands and seashells, pink golden sunsets. Tall books and slick rhymes, chicken dumplings. Road trips and boat rides, oceans, choppy and blue. Teacups at Disney, golf carts, bicycles too. Clown noses, fun poses, camping, soaring on swings. Floating on water and soaks in hot springs. There were ripples and chortles and snickers and fun, hugs 'neath the full moon and out in the sun. Dressed up for weddings with smiles for their mamas, strutting in grad gowns, holding tight their diplomas. Ice blocks down hillsides, to each other they cling. These are a few of Mo's favorite things.
Sunsets on skylines and moonbeams on mountains, dog walks in canyons, toes dipped in park fountains, hummingbirds flitting with fanciful wings. These are a few of Mo's favorite things. Snuggly fall Afghans, smell of fresh coffee beans, mowing lawns in summer, blooming lilacs in spring, floating on water while Bob Marley sings. These are a few of her favorite things. When our hearts sag, when our tears sting, when we're feeling bad, we simply remember Mo's favorite things, and then we won't feel sad. Runaway wagons, bad jokes, funny faces,
No spoons and card games and passing out praises.
chasing waves at the beach,
And concerts with Sting. These are a few of her favorite things. S'mores on the campfire, jazzy new yard toys.
big plans and old tunes and time with her boys.
Rosebuds in vases, wind chimes ting-a-ling. These are a few of her favorite things. When our hearts sag, when our tears sting, when we're feeling sad, we simply remember most favorite things, and then we will feel so glad.
Like my mom, Mo and Steph knew how to make each person feel like they were special and found unique ways to relate to them. Here are some excerpts from some lovely tributes they shared by those she touched. This is from Jason, Mo's high school sweetheart. In the months before she passed, they reconnected. They shared pictures, poems, letters they had kept since high school, and the memories that went with them. Jason wrote, "I know you're gone from this life, but thank you for being you. I wish I could celebrate life with you, but I sure will celebrate for you." And this is from Jeff and Liza. Steph and Mo met Jeff and Liza, who were a few years younger during the 90s when their dad, Steve, and I began dating. Mo left to work at Bullfrog in Lake Powell after high school. Jeff, Liza, and I recently reminisced about our good times together, our love of music, Powell, and in particular about singing along to one of our favorite songs, Old Blackwater, on our road trips. Mo and Nate were a couple from 1991 to 95. Mo and Nate reconnected as friends, sharing great memories. She asked that I send him the wind chime they bought together when they lived and worked in Montana after she died. Here's what Nate said. "My years with Danielle were like no other. She was my first true love. She had a great sense of adventure and a huge heart for nature. I often think of our many road trips and the bear experience camping in Montana and share it with others. She'll always be a part of me. Her free spirit is limitless." Mo wrote of their bear encounter in 1993, which will be in her remembrance book for the boys. The next couple of chapters in her relationship attempts were challenging. Riley was born after an effort to patch things up and make things work. Tyler became a big brother a few months before his 4th birthday. One time at Valerie's house, where Mo was living with the boys, there was a McCoy family gathering. She wanted the boys to have a picture with their father's side of the family, so she gathered them all together and snapped a photo. She wanted Tyler and Riley to have the same kind of family bond she'd experienced growing up. Juggling the responsibilities of being a single mom was difficult. She took another try for a loving relationship the boys and she could thrive in. In both instances, it took a toll, and the healing process is ongoing. These were pivotal turning points, but true to form, she learned and grew from her experiences. So, Dave Staples came along, and they were married. They were together for over 13 years. Dave often told us how he fell in love with Mo at first sight. Just as she'd done with her earlier relationships, Mo reached out with a heartfelt thank you, accepting what was good before their divorce. Having no regrets, they shared some good times together and parted as friends. Now for my siblings, Mo's aunts and uncle, starting with my closest sister, Trish, from New York. They shared a love of music, and just hours before Mo passed, Trish played Amazing Grace for her on the piano. I believe it helped ease her way. In reunions, it was always a joy to see her. I looked forward to hearing her endless repertoire of clever jokes and colorful expressions. One of my favorites was "land the plane," which she would say to urge herself or someone else to get to the point. This was always said in a gentle and teasing manner, with wit and in fun, and made us all laugh. There was so much more to Danielle, too. Like all humans, she was complex and suffered sorrows and hardships in her life's journey. She faced these challenges with strength and honesty, and in doing so, acquired a depth of wisdom that I admired and learned from. This is from my next youngest sister, Joanne. There was that indescribable instant understanding and internal acknowledgement that were especially bonded. We understood and accepted each other, something very rare and special. And Danielle and Stephanie, the best flower girls a bride could hope for. And this is from my youngest sister, Becky. She said, "Danielle's laughter, humor, and love of entertaining is what I remember most, except for really wanting her ladybug costume. Her laugh was contagious and brightened the room." Now this one's from my oldest brother and only brother, Barry. Our beautiful niece, Danielle, lived her life in a spiritual way. She knew and appreciated the gift that had been given to her. She was kind-hearted, strong-willed, courageous, and had the most amazing ability to remember and share hundreds of jokes. Her loyalty and passion for people, animals, and nature never went unnoticed. Most of all, she had such love, admiration, and affection for her sons. Kind-hearted and humane, her love for her dogs always reminded me of her selfless nature. She loved the mountains, clouds, the sand, the ocean, and all the creatures that inhabit these places. Mo led her life with a roadmap from her heart. We're all better people for having had the chance to share special moments in time with her. And now from a few of Mo's cousins. This was from Laura. Laura was an Osteen cousin of Mo and the closest in age. They'd known each other since they were toddlers, becoming great friends over the years, each of them having 2 boys about the same ages. Laura came to visit when we lived in Julie and Ramona, Concord and Sandy. She recalled putting on skits, dressing up the cats, and when Mo came to visit with Laura in Huntington Beach, she explained a little bit about their mischief together. They paper-bombed apartments across the street with more than 60 paper airplanes, repeatedly, at least 4 times. This was a step up from toilet papering for them. She said of her visit with us in Sandy, it was 3 weeks of pure joy, fun, and adventure. Danielle took me on my first real hike in Big Cottonwood Canyon, a memory that I will treasure forever. They were pen pals. It was before cell phones, emails, and when you had to pay a big price for long-distance calls. She commented, Danielle loved her boys, Tyler and Riley, more than life itself. She was so proud of them and always talked about them with so much love. She loved bringing them out to Southern California, spending time with family, and letting them have fun at the old stomping grounds she'd enjoyed as a young girl. She was sad and scared to leave them, but knew they were caring and intelligent young men that would make great lives for themselves. All she wanted was for her boys to be happy humans and for them to know they were loved very much by their mother. This is from Cousin Josh. I remember going to Disneyland with my older and younger cousins. We had to stay back with the grown-ups and little kids. Danielle showed up and asked if we were having fun. When we told her we hadn't gone on any of the rides, she said, "Let's get away from these old farts and have a good time." She took us on lots of rides and made sure we had a great time the rest of the day. This is from Trevor, another cousin of Mo's. I think the biggest impression she made was her ability to find humor in any situation, whether it be tense or awkward. She found a way to make people laugh or have fun, regardless of the circumstances. This is from Amanda. She really could walk into a room of strangers and come out with 100 friends. One of my fondest memories of Mo till this day is when my siblings and I went out to Utah to camp by the lake. Mo taught us how to fish with a makeshift fishing hook. We may not have had much luck, but we did catch crawdads and had a good laugh. She taught me to be fearless, carefree, and not to take life so seriously. Thank you for your kindness, your joy, and your jokes. You're one gorgeous soul that will live on in all of our hearts. And this one's Jackie, another cousin. It was always fun going on adventures with you. I remember being in the truck with you. You showed us what doing donuts was all about. The first and only times I've ever done them, out in the middle of dirt, making dirt clouds and stopping because the ranger came. We tried to play it cool and act like we didn't cause them. I hope I can make trips with my son as exciting as you made them for me. Today I'm on my way to see the redwoods, and I'll be thinking of you and all the times we spent outdoors experiencing life together. This is from Cousin Megan. Everyone always felt loved, special, and entertained around you. I loved running around the halls of the Queen Mary with you, just laughing at nothing, which means everything to have those memories. You fought the hard fight with a smile and a strength I've never seen. Save a place in heaven for me, sweet cousin. This is from Brian. I'm so blessed to have called you my cousin. We can choose our friends in this life, but we can't pick who's related to us. I am so lucky I had you in life. The Waters family was gifted with a special goofy gene, and I think you had an extra dose of that. My favorite memories were at holiday dinners watching you make funny faces with all the olives on your fingers. I miss you more than you know and will always be inspired by your kindness, personality, beauty, and ability to bring joy to those you are around. This is from Cousin Claire. When I think of Danielle, I mostly remember how she made me feel. I remember that Danielle treated me like part of the core family and made me feel comfortable and at ease despite my insecurity about being the cousin people saw the least. I have a very strong memory of riding in the back seat of the car once Danielle was driving. A few of my other cousins and I had wanted to get candy or McDonald's or something. None of the other kids or adults wanted to be bothered with it, and Danielle volunteered to take us. The whole car ride was full of laughter, and I remember her singing along to the radio, full of joy. Such a happy memory for me. To this day, that's how I think of Danielle, full of exuberance and life, spreading laughter and joy to those around her. And now from some of Mo's friends and cohorts at work and her bosses. This one's from Aunt Sue. Can I do that again? And now from some of her friends, cohorts, and bosses at Transwest, and her Aunt Sue to start with. Aunt Sue was a family friend. She worked with me at AT&T, was with us for holidays and at Tulum and Cozumel in Mexico when Mo was pregnant with Tyler. She shared this about a Thanksgiving we had together in Brookside. Mo can put a spoon on her nose. I think it's hereditary among the Waters clan. Mo had the most amazing smile that radiated through her whole body and radiated out to the world. The most important humans in her life were Tyler and Riley. She loved them fiercely. Danielle, Mo, will always be with us. Mo chose me to be her aunt. Thank you, Mo. All my love, wherever you are. Over the years, there were numerous attempts to make the peace, have friendly relationships on behalf of the boys. Often those attempts were thwarted. This is from Ray, Tyler and Riley's stepmom. Danielle deserves my praise and appreciation. One of the very first things that I noticed about her was her smile. It was big and it lit up her whole face, and it made you want to smile or laugh along with her. I could easily picture us laughing together or being friends. Had we met under different circumstances. She has shown that she's a beautiful person inside and out. This is from Jill. Jill was the manager at the office where Mo went for her dental appointments. We were all so sad about Danielle's passing. We were worried about her when she missed her appointment on October 3rd, just 2 days after she passed. When I told Sue, Danielle's hygienist, about her passing, she burst into tears. We all so loved seeing and visiting with your beautiful daughter each time she came to our office. We're so sorry for your loss, and our thoughts are with you and her sons at this difficult time. So Mo had some great work ethics and lots of work experience. She worked at Altaview as an aide at the hospital. She worked at AT&T. She was working at a screen printing business, a temp agency, as an extra in films. And she worked hard with the boy's father to clean parking lots, gas stations, and snowplow. So these are from some of her work people that she knew. This is from Dale. He was a customer and a professional that she was affiliated with. What an amazing person Danielle was. She had one of the biggest hearts of anyone I've ever known. I take that back. She had the biggest heart of anyone I ever met. I got to know Danielle at the credit union, where she treated me not as a customer but as a friend, and put all her attention on handling whatever I came in for. I always left feeling better than when I came in. She was planning to move to be as close as possible to her boys, just a short distance from the boys' schools and grandmother's house where they stayed. I remember how thrilled she was. She was so compassionate, fun, and caring, not like anyone I'd met. I still have the compassion card she gave me and a very fond place in my heart for her. This is from Rachel, one of Danielle's best friends at work. Her goal was to have someone leave in a better mood than they arrived. She tried to remember the little things about as many people as she could, what was going on with her kids or pets or trips they were taking. She was so willing to give anyone a hug when they needed it, or just a comforting or encouraging word. She was a ray of sunshine to anyone's day. Even in her difficult times, she tried to make others smile. This is a picture of fishing poles at work. It was raining so hard at the branch, and we had fishing poles there, and Danielle said, with that much rain, we could just fish in the parking lot, and so they did. Another of Mo's closest friends was Tisha over the years, and this is what Tisha said. Danielle is one of my best friends. Work was always our time. We laughed a lot and cried and vented. She always said, "Thank you for the therapy session." Many times the clock would turn 5:30 and the music would immediately be turned up and we would be dancing while closing. And we got on the counter at the teller line and we danced there while no one was looking, maybe the cameras. She absolutely loved her sons. She talked about them every day. They were her life and she would do anything for them. I have so many memories of Danielle and I cherish every one of them. I miss you always and hope you're having a party. Happy birthday to this beautiful lady. Brian Smith was Mo's boss, and he wrote this. Danielle had such a great welcoming spirit about her. We were instant friends. She always treated me like we'd been friends forever. Each day we would pick up where we left off. I love her quick wit. She was always prepared with a new joke. I love her thoughtfulness of others. It was important to her to make people happy. She used humor to lighten the mood and bring people together, and laughter was her therapy. It was amazing how credit union members would wait an extra time just for her to help them. Danielle always gave 100% in everything she did. I learned from Danielle to love and appreciate simple things in life, not to allow stress to take over my day, and not to pass on an opportunity to give lots of hugs or live life to the fullest. And this is the CEO of Transwest, and he wrote this. We have a plaque for Danielle in our new Teams room, along with a picture of Danielle and her dog sitting on the beach. For Danielle, the member's experience was the most important part of the transaction. Handling people's finances is quite personal, and she was never judgmental of things that folks would share with her. When doing a new hire orientation, especially for tellers, I will use Danielle as an example of truly placing the member first. We can thank Danielle for reminding us how important the individual is and how valuable people are. She is still an integral part of our team. And here are a few quotes from a few other of her friends. This is from Tina. She brought so much laughter and joy to the world. I still find myself laughing out loud thinking about a joke she said, or just really every day we work together. Definitely one of my favorite people. And Wendy. Danielle was a great person, always had a big smile and made us laugh a lot. I miss her. Janice said she was genuine, loving, and kind, she was. We had really good laughs, and she will always be in my heart. Fly high, old friend. Laura Lynn said, she was easy to love. What a beautiful tribute to a beautiful person. And Becky, I miss her silly jokes, always a smile on her face, and miss her beauty. And Cindy, you are a beautiful person. You are truly missed.